I want to know what the hell you and your boss, Aristotle Dumas, are really up to.
Maybe you need to take a page out of your own devious playbook and get Phyllis out of Billy's orbit for good.
Victor is the reason that I asked you to meet me. Nikki, I need you to betray your husband.
Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It's time to stand up in today's The Young and the Restless. It's been a while since there has been this much anticipation about the introduction of a mysterious new character on The Young and the Restless. Writers have teased fans for weeks about the introduction of the infamous Aristotle Dumas. The man bankrolling Damien's, Jermaine Rivers' CEO dreams, the person fueling Billy's, Jason Thompson, desire to regain control of Chancellor, and perhaps one of the very few people to ever best the great Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, in business. Adding to Aristotle's allure is the fact that there are no pictures of him online, and it hasn't been stated whether he has a previous connection to Genoa City, although we once speculated that Aristotle could be tied to the once highly esteemed Prentice family. Going back to his Victor connection, the mustache told Michael, Christian LeBlanc, that he and Aristotle had somewhat of a rivalry for years in the business world off-screen, which is why Victor is so interested in figuring out why Aristotle is resurfacing. Now, of course, Lily, Crystal Khalil, put Aristotle back on Victor's radar when she asked for help looking into Damien, and Victor tied Damien back to Aristotle. So far, Victor is still in the dark about Damien being Nate's, Sean Dominic, half-brother. As the Newman patriarch continues to feed Lily information, she finds herself painting Damien as this big villain who can't be trusted. Especially after Victor stated that Aristotle shared information about her and Devon with Damien 3 months ago, which was before Nate tracked him down. When Lily confronted Damien with this information in The Young and the Restless episode that aired on March 31st, accusing him of playing them all since he arrived in town, he called her accusations ridiculous. He took some exception to her insinuating that he knew his mother was sick, knew that Nathan was his real father, and knew he had a half-brother in Nate. She refused to believe he was being truthful, and when Nate walked in on the conversation, he also developed some suspicions. The discussion between Nate and Damien continues in the episode airing on April 1st, with Amy, Valerie Pettiford. With all of that being said, we're starting to believe that more scrutiny should be placed on Damien's relationship with Aristotle. It seems odd that such a successful businessman wants to spend so much time in the shadows and would rather use Damien as the face of the organization with no strings attached. Sure, in this deal Damien gets to claim the title of CEO, but we can't forget that he also was a hard person to track down and even let Holden, Nathan Owens, pretend to be him to avoid being found. So what's with all the hiding? We suspect that both Aristotle and Damien have done some unsavory, likely illegal, things to become successful. If that's the case, we have a hunch that Aristotle made Damien largely get his hands dirty, so if law enforcement were to ever sniff around, they'd be compelled to focus their attention on Damien. It would make sense that the price Damien pays for his title is the big gamble with his freedom. Without question, the biggest mystery on The Young and the Restless is the true identity of Aristotle Dumas. Victor, Eric Braeden, and Michael, Christian LeBlanc, suspect the mystery businessman could be Tucker, Trevor St. John, pointing to the facts that Aristotle seems to have an interest in the Winters clan. There are similarities between Tucker's former Glissade and one of Aristotle's businesses, and the billionaire Enigma has an interest in Chancellor. There's also a theory among fans that Aristotle Dumas could be Kane, last played by Daniel Goddard. Jack, Peter Bergman, was the first to mention that Aristotle arrived on the business scene between 5 and 6 years ago, which happens to align with Kane's departure from Genoa City. It wouldn't come as a surprise if Kane were back with a renewed interest in Chancellor and a desire to reconnect with Lily, Crystal Khalil. Although Goddard is currently making a debut on General Hospital, we can't rule out that he could pull double duty on both soaps, or Kane could be recast. Fast forward to The Young and the Restless episode airing on April 15th, and Lily confronts Damien, Jermaine Rivers, wanting to know the truth about his boss. Surprisingly, Damien agrees to share what he knows, which isn't much. If Aristotle pulls a stunt at his party that demands an immediate response from the Newmans, it looks like Adam and Victoria may have to join forces to put a stop to it. Even if Aristotle takes a step toward gaining control of Chancellor, Victoria and Adam will have to team up to protect Victor's empire. Heck, with Claire, Haley Aaron in town, she'll also need to pitch in to help protect Chancellor. We'll say this, we hope our theory here rings true, as we'd like to see Victoria and Adam really bond, even if the bond is created in corporate battle. We're tired of the two having this hate/hate relationship. Add some. Damien tells her he's never even met Aristotle. In fact, after Damien learned about Aristotle's meteoric rise in the corporate world, Damien reached out to him, and Aristotle hired him on the spot. Since then, Damien's contact with his boss has been limited to messages and calls, but no face-to-face interactions. Lily and we find that odd, but Damien promises he's telling the truth. The episode concludes with Lily requesting Damien help her find out what his boss is up to. He doesn't immediately respond, but will he really help Lily just because he has a crush on her? If so, we have to think he may also want to make sure Aristotle isn't up to something that can harm his newfound brother, Nate Sean Dominic, although he barely knows Nate. If we had to guess, there are too many red flags waving around Damien to think he'll just go along with Lily's request. Should he agree to help Lily, there's a good chance he may sabotage her investigation, all in an effort to protect Aristotle and Damien's own position of power. As Damien noted, he has somewhat of a rags-to-riches story, and he may not want to chance everything he's managed to acquire in recent years for a possible romance story or a long-lost half-brother. Not for nothing, it doesn't sound like Lily or Devin Brighton James is prepared to offer Damien a job or a lucrative windfall for his sacrifice. Now there's always a chance Damien's good conscience takes over and he agrees to genuinely help Lily out of the kindness of his heart. Plus, he may not want to do anything to upset his mother, Amy Valerie Pettiford. However, there is still too much mystery around Damien to make the assumption that he's truly an altruistic hero of sorts. The guessing game of the true identity of the young and the restless Aristotle Dumas continues, as we still have no confirmation as to who the mystery billionaire is. However, in the Young and the Restless episode airing on May 16th, Amanda Sinclair, Miss Hale Morgan, pops back into town with some Aristotle news. It all starts with Lily, Crystal Khalil, Devin, Brighton James, and Nate, Sean Dominic, all receiving individual text messages, summoning them to attend a meeting with Aristotle Dumas at Society. When the three of them arrive, they become suspicious of why they weren't just invited via a group message and are further wary about what is going on. Lily, in particular, notes about Aristotle's love of the dramatics, and the Winters/Hastings crew as a whole wonder if Aristotle is actually going to show to tell them what he wants. As Lily, Devin, and Nate huddle around, further discussing the matter at hand, in walks Amanda, shocking them all. They ask Amanda what she's doing back in town, and she makes it clear she's there to meet them on behalf of Aristotle and is the one who sent the text messages. After Jill, Jess Walton, sold Chancellor, Amanda was a free agent, and Dumas reached out to her with a job offer, working as his attorney. She accepted the position, and she's in Genoa City today to answer their questions about her boss. Amanda first confirms that Aristotle is in fact a man, and she's actually met him, unlike Damien Jermaine Rivers. She then informs the trio that Aristotle has no interest in Winters, but has a deep admiration for the company and them individually. Interestingly enough, Amanda invokes Niels, Christophe St. John name, claiming Aristotle admired him very much and believes Winters perfectly embodies Niels' approach to business. Allegedly, Aristotle added that Neil would be very proud of them. Devin and Lily naturally ask if Aristotle knew Neil, but Amanda doesn't say. Tired of the riddles, they ask Amanda point-blank what Aristotle is after. Amanda assures them it's not Winters, but Chancellor. Aristotle wasn't pleased that Victor, Eric Braden, purchased Chancellor and ousted Billy, Jason Thompson, in the way he did. Amanda personally was upset how Lily was fired by Billy before that sale happened, commenting on Lily being a real asset to Chancellor. When Lily, Devin, and Nate go to Nate's apartment to discuss the shocking meeting with Amanda, they're all confused about what to think. They don't know if they can trust Amanda's motives, are confused about whether she knows Damien and are still suspicious of all things Aristotle. With all that being said, we're starting to wonder more than ever if Aristotle really is Kane or Tucker. Kane, in particular, admired Neil as his father-in-law and could speak to Neil as a businessman, and likely would know what would make Neil proud. Additionally, Kane also has always loved Lily, and it's not hard to picture him upset with the way Billy treated her at Chancellor and how Victor subsequently played her over the company. He could be wanting to right a wrong for his ex-wife and the mother of his twin children. Although the original Kane portrayer, Daniel Goddard, is currently on General Hospital, we can't rule out him playing double duties in daytime soon. It's also possible that actor Billy Flynn is picking up the Kane mantle, given he's due to make a debut soon. So what do you think? Is Kane Aristotle Dumas, or could it be another blast from the past like Tucker, or a member of the Prentice family? Like many on the Young and the Restless canvas, we find ourselves trying to figure out the mystery identity of Aristotle Dumas. For weeks now, he's been causing a stir throughout Genoa City, and he hasn't even appeared yet. He has Victor, Eric Braden, on guard due to their business rivalry, has Lily, Crystal Khalil, concerned because of his ties to Nate's Sean Dominic, new brother Damien, Jermaine Rivers, and has Billy, Jason Thompson, foaming at the mouth with the possibility that Billy can reacquire Chancellor thanks to the billionaire. Zeroing in on Aristotle's proposition to Billy, Aristotle allegedly told him that he feels compassion for him after Chancellor was ripped for his hands. Furthermore, Aristotle would like the opportunity to help right this wrong by helping Billy get Chancellor back in some kind of quid pro quo arrangement. Not much is known yet about what Billy promised Aristotle, but it likely has to do with Victor in some capacity. Now Sally, Courtney Hope, Phyllis, Michelle Stafford, and Jack, Peter Bergman, have all warned Billy not to take Aristotle's bait as he's too much of an unknown to be trusted. However, in true Billy fashion, he seems primed to take a gamble with the mysterious wild card. A move we strongly suspect Billy will come to regret. We have a hunch that in the end, Aristotle will double-cross Billy. Lately, rumors have been swirling that Aristotle is actually Kane Ashby, Daniel Goddard. We even suggested there is a strong possibility that this is the case based on Jack's limited knowledge of Aristotle, which he revealed in a conversation with Billy in The Young and the Restless episode airing on April 2nd. If Kane is in fact Aristotle, then we have to consider that Aristotle's interest in Chancellor could be tied to Lily. Back in the day, Kane and Lily were a power couple in Genoa City. They got married, shared kids, and he was a vital part of her support system when she battled cancer. Although she wound up dumping him before his departure from the soap in 2019, their kind of love and history just don't go away. We wouldn't be surprised if he's been carrying a torch for her in his years off-screen. Victor recently told Lily that his team found evidence that Aristotle looked into her, Devin, Brighton James, and the Winters brand 3 months prior to Nate seeking out Damien. Looking back in time, Nate started searching for Damien around December 2024. Roughly 4 months before that, in August, Billy fired Lily from the Chancellor Abbott, citing that he couldn't trust her. It's not hard to imagine that sometime between August and December, Kane caught word of Lily losing Chancellor after years of her hard work and felt sympathy for her. If he somehow subsequently learned that Victor betrayed Lily to get Chancellor for himself, he could have developed a plan to right some wrongs. It's possible that Kane has been working on a meticulous scheme to acquire Chancellor, not to give it to Billy, but to give it to Lily as a grand gesture to win back the love of his life. That would be quite the explosive development if it occurs, and leaves us to wonder if Lily would accept his generous gift. Again, Kane being Aristotle is just a theory at this point. We also think there's a chance that Aristotle is Billy Flynn's new character that he's set to debut on The Young and the Restless soon. And who's to say Flynn won't be debuting as a member of the Prentice family, one of the original families of Genoa City, as The Young and the Restless fans continue to be on Aristotle Dumas' watch. We've found ourselves letting our minds wander and coming up with a few theories. First, there's his identity. With Aristotle being an alias the mysterious business tycoon has taken on, we've speculated that Aristotle is likely Kane Ashby, now played by Billy Flynn. There have been clues dropped by Jack, Peter Bergman, and Amanda Miss Hale Morgan over the last several months that suggest a big Kane reveal, but we won't know for sure if we're right until Aristotle's party kicks off.